that you're already, yeah, that time of year is back. PPL live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already, yeah, the time of year is back. PPL live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Squad underestimated, finally won his first shit. They put the work and made some trades, yeah, that was good shit. But don't get comfortable, the league is filled with champions. Don't sleep on your opponent, better stay away from ambience. We back again, another year of PPL. Back to talk smack again, we treat it like the NFL. Time to stack your rosters up and build your best to never fail. By week 6 we take advantage, if you're weak cause we can tell. You better bring your A game, be solid like an A-frame. A new year but the same thing, you better be ready to bang bang. It's showtime, PPL live is ready to go. Gino the Jet will let you know it won't be easy, that's for sure. When the pads smacking, bones crack, yeah, you gotta love that. Glad it's back, PPL, let's run it back. Live shows, speak the facts, analyze and talk the trash. Play the game to win the cash, never try to end the blast. Hope that you're already, yeah, that time of year is back. PPL live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already, yeah, that time of year is back. PPL live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. PPL live.
PPL Live. It is time to go. It's that time of week. It's week 6, and we're getting deeper and deeper into the mix of the PPL season. Gino the Gent here with Ulysses S. Hey, give him a what's up, Ulysses.
What's up, PPL?
It's time to go. You know what time it is, but before we get into week 6, you know we got to take a look back to a live week 5, starting with Only for the Boss, getting back in control of the Alpha Conference, getting the win 136 to 104. Appease the gods after a brilliant week from DJ Moore, sweated out Monday night 117 to the Baby Gas team's 114. Squad underestimated, proves Ulysses right, leave no doubt. Lock of the week 160 to 129. The United Players, the Destroyers, get a big Omega Conference win 130 to the Twins 82. And the Skulls, looking like the preseason favorite they are, get the big win, pull the GAFF into the mud of the Omega Conference 156 to 134. Alrighty, Ulysses, man, you heard it, man. It was a great week 5. What stood out to you about week 5?
I mean, we had a lot of competitive matchups. I mean, a lot of people were going off, and I mean, hey, a quarter of the way through the season, it's still really anybody's game. So I'm excited to see how the next quarter unfolds.
No, definitely, man. Save for Trey Fitty, everybody I think has a shot at getting a deep run into the playoffs. But you guys know what time it is. It's time to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. You guys know what time it is. Good, bad, and ugly of week 5. Ulysses, let's hear it, brother. What's your good, bad, and ugly of week 5?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I mean, hey, somebody that if you look at it, you might question, man, why is this going good? But I'm going with the Skulls.
Okay,
I mean,
no, for sure.
Put up 156. When you look, I mean, hey, Aaron Jones has a 0. He wasn't even playing.
Yeah.
You have a coach loss here. And this guy still put up 156.
Beautiful.
Jamar Chase, I mean, apparently he is open all the time.
Right.
And again, we just saw what really could happen if that guy goes off. Elsewhere, Josh Allen, even in the loss, looked really good. And it's not just that; it's who he got. I mean, if Gaff put up a very respectable 134.
Yeah, definitely.
I think did some master moves. I mean. I think the Spears play was a good one, and obviously the Jets D, and he went out and picked the Lions coach. So Gaff did all he could this week and still just came up short. If he would have got this though, he would have been in command of Omega. So the Skulls just made Omega real interesting, quality week, and I think that they were the best performer this week.
Okay, no, man, I agree with that, definitely, man. What's your bet?
My bad, and again, I don't really like giving this, but it's the Baby Gas team. They really could have got appeased the gods. You know, Joe Burrow and company finally woke up, which again was really good. Josh Jacobs and Jacoby Myers really showed up on Monday night. Everybody really got good, and what it really came down to was a coach loss. I mean, I thought that this Commanders coach was a lock, and what we saw was the danger of playing Thursday night coaches. If you win, it's great. If you lose, it really puts you in a tough position.
For sure, man.
And it ultimately doomed him. I mean, hey, if this guy goes 9 against ATG's 10, they win this. So it was just a bad week. But I think, again, this team, they have some potential. Yeah. And especially if this lineup continues to produce and the Cincinnati Bengals come alive, the BGT's one to watch out for.
No, man, definitely. The BGT, I mean, even if they, go with a coach who loses by just less, they win that matchup, man. Let's hear your ugly.
Ugly. I mean, I got to give it to the Twins. I mean, only team not to crack 100 this week. I mean, you know, we talked about this though last week. There was a lot of injury concerns that definitely hampered their overhead here. But let's talk about what we saw. Matthew Stafford and company. He struggled somewhat against Philadelphia.
Right, to be expected.
And you know, and then Jonathan Taylor's first game back, and Zach Moss was the guy who looked like he got paid.
Right.
So I don't know what that's all about, but I mean, really just no production here. I mean, you scored 80 points and you got a 20-point coach win, 13 points out of the D. I mean, that just means guys didn't really do much.
Definitely.
It was an ugly week. The Twins are still somewhat banged up, and again, let's hope that these guys can get healthy because they really don't have the depth as the bye weeks keep coming.
No, definitely, man. I agree. It was a bad week for the Twins with those Chargers on the bye. My good, I gotta go with only for the boss. I mean, they re-seized control of the Alpha Conference from the Argonauts, who were looking to run away with they were undefeated at this point.
Yeah.
They were able to get that first L on the record. Only for the boss becomes the hottest team in the PPL at 4 straight wins after dropping that opener. And it's really, ancillary play. Zach Moss coming through for them huge, giving them a 35-point game in a game that they needed when they couldn't get much production from the running back position. So that's going to be key for them moving forward. I'm also looking at the fact that Patrick Mahomes continues to be steady, and Stephon Diggs is just becoming Mr. Reliable right now at the right time of the season for the boss, especially after they lost Nick Chubb. This was a huge bounce-back win for them, and it kept the Argonauts from running away with Alpha, as we said the GAFF could have done. So great week for the boss. My bad is actually going to go to the Argonauts, their opponents for week 5, and that's because... let's be real. They were undefeated. They were 4-0, but they only put up 104, and it was an ugly week for them with injuries. The only reason it's bad is because of the amount of depth that they have. You lose Achane, you lose Justin Jefferson, but you have Cooper Kupp to throw into the lineup behind him, and then you also have Jerome Ford, who they didn't think they were going to need very much. He's going to actually play a bigger role. Madison's actually looking competent in Minnesota, so that's a good sign for him. That's why it's not quite ugly. And they are 4-1, so there's nothing ugly about that. But it was a bad week for the Argonauts, dropping another one to only for the boss, as well as losing control of first place in the Alpha Conference and losing your best player. Let's call it what it is. Justin Jefferson is the best of the Argo. And my ugly, man, I'm with you. It's Patty's Twins. Without Eckler in that lineup and without Keenan Allen, scoring got very, very stagnant. It was just really nowhere for them to go. Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't able to get loose or get dumb. I believe that he actually sat out that game. And so that was another concern for them. It was just an ugly week. just based on the fact that injuries hit this team hard and they weren't able to really recover from that. I mean, they're starting guys like Cortland Sutton, Tutu Atwell, Matt Breida. I mean, it was just an ugly lineup and an ugly week. I think that the Twins, though, have a lot, to look forward to, but it was ugly because if they get that win and they can get out ahead at 4-1 in the Omega Conference, they could have made a statement themselves. With that being said, I mean, nothing is, too grievous or too bad for anybody in the PPL, aside, like I said, I think from Trey 50. Everybody else, I think, is alive and kicking. And let's get to the live and kicking. Let's get in the mix for week 6. And let's start with our first matchup of interconference warfare. It's time for Alpha and Omega to go to war. And we start with a big one, the Baby Gas team taking on the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man, this is a big one. The Baby Gas team and the United Players, interconference warfare kicking off. Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa. Isaiah Pacheco getting into that lineup, going up against Josh Jacobs. What do you think of this one, man? A big one for both of these teams. Both of these teams have reason for optimism, but there's also reason for concern. The United Players and the BGT.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be one of the more competitive matchups of the week, and I think if you polled owners right now, you'd probably have a decent split of where they thought this one was going to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna say right now, I like the BGT, but I think that they need to make some moves.
Okay.
As I'm looking at it, I think hopefully Joe Burrow and company woke up and can get going. What I like is Las Vegas playing New England, and Josh Jacobs playing, or Josh McDaniels playing his former protege in Bill Belichick, or I should say at least a guy that had major influence on his career.
Oh, that's his daddy. I mean, let's not get it anywhere around. That's Papa.
Yeah, that's Papa. I mean, and I mean the way that team's playing. I mean, I think he's going to go out and try to show out. And I think that Josh Jacobs and Jacoby Myers may factor. But I think when I look at this guy's bench, I think there's a few guys that are currently questionable, and he really needs to maintain eye contact and see if these guys, can go. Because if Mike Evans is healthy, he needs to be in the lineup. From what I'm seeing from Cole Kmet and his connection with Justin Fields of late, if he's healthy, I think that he needs to get in the lineup as well. I think he puts those guys in, and it goes with different team than the Commanders at head coach. I mean, against Atlanta, I just don't trust it. I think that game's another kind of toss-up, and he might be able to find a better coach matchup. On the other side, two is I think, you can count on some things. Yeah. Other spots, DeAndre Swift should have a pretty decent game against the Jets, but I mean, that game might get out of control, and they may be pretty good. As I look at this lineup, I mean, I think again, he's got the more talented team. I think he's got the higher scoring ceiling, but just something tells me that I think the BGT is going to be able to string those few things along. Mm-hmm. And I think he's got a quality interconference win here. I'm going to say the BGT gets 119 to the United Players 115.
All right. No, man, I can totally see what you're saying, man. But I just got to go the other way in this matchup. I'm not impressed with the receivers that the BGT is going to have to field. Even if they bring Mike Evans back in, I mean, they still got to go with like a Jerry Jeudy tomorrow, or an Adam Thielen, who, I mean, is in an offense that can't push the ball down the field right now with a young Bryce Young. I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins getting into the lineup for the United Players. I think that's going to give them a nice little kick up that they need. George Pickens made a huge play in that win Pittsburgh had over Baltimore, and he's becoming a sensation. I think that the Steelers are kind of in their own way. This guy's got, he's got some great range, and he's got great skill. I think that they need to start just trying to pepper this guy with targets a little bit more when they go back to pass. Let's talk about DeAndre Swift, man. He's doing his thing. He's really becoming an asset for the United Players, a trustworthy asset, and he's kind of finally just realizing his potential. I'm getting more and more impressed with him by the week, and I just love the way the Eagles are using him. They're using him as a stud running back, and they're using him in ways Detroit never really were able to because he stayed injured. So he's able to maintain his health. That's a big, big thing. King Henry starting to see carries. That is a problem there, but Isaiah Pacheco is in that lineup. He paid dividends last week, and I think he's going to continue to do so early on in this matchup. I'm loving Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, two big-time targets for C.J. Stroud. And that Eagles coach, I think they're going to roll on the Jets. I think that they're going to bring Zach Wilson back down. I got the United players getting this win, man. They look like they're hitting their stride. They're going to get to 4-2. I got the United players getting this win 124 to the Baby Gas team's 110. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into our next conference of interconference warfare, a big one for Appease the Gods as they take on I Need About Trey Fitty. All right, man, a huge one here for ATG. They got to keep pace. They got to start racking up the wins. They don't have a strong conference record right now, so they've got to get all of the wins if they can. They're 1-3 in the Omega Conference. They got that win last week against the BGT. They can't let this one slide against the 0-5 Trey Fitty team, man. What do you think of this one? Huge one. Trey Fitty, ATG.
Yeah, I mean, there are several things that I like about what Trey Fitty's done with their lineup. I mean, number one, C.J. Stroud.
Yes.
I mean, between him and Jordan Love, I mean, he's clearly, I mean, the guy that he should be going with. Glad to see him in the lineup.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne, I mean, and we saw what he could do.
And keeper potential with C.J. Stroud there, man, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge move, I think, on this team. What I don't necessarily agree with, I mean, again, I saw what the Bengals did last week. I don't know if I would be going their coach against Seattle.
Okay.
When I look at ATG, though, I mean, a couple things are in his favor. I think, Lamar is going to be playing Tennessee in London, and I think that as one of the more exciting players on that field, I think he's going to try to put on a show. You look at where some of the injuries for other guys, they're going to probably start benefiting ATG.
Yeah.
David Montgomery, is feasting with or without Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
And now Raheem Mostert. I mean, he's looking to get the lion's share of carries out in Miami. DJ Moore showed last week why Appease the Gods put together a package to get this guy.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
against the team that traded him too, man.
50-point days on a Thursday night. I mean, he was feeling pretty good. Bijan, I mean, again, that Atlanta team has a lot of things that they have going for them, and just the one that's not is quarterback. If this team gets a quality quarterback, a lot of teams can go. Both of these squads, in particular, have Atlanta Falcons in. But I look at the Chiefs D against Denver. I mean, Denver's terrible right now, and I think are going to be highly. The Chiefs are going to be highly opportunistic there. I like the Rams coach against Arizona. I just think ATG has such a higher ceiling right now. Yeah. And I think actually I'm gonna give ATG a probably comfortable win on this one. Right. I think he's gonna get this one 126 to I Need About Trey Fitty's 109.
Okay. I gotta agree with you, but I also feel like Trey Fitty had the best showing of the season last week, and he may be on to a
He
few
sure
things.
did. He sure did.
I like the Breece Hall play. They're finally letting the leash off this guy, and he's just looking more explosive and more explosive. I'm also looking at Travis Etienne, man. He went for 35 last week in London. He's only going to get better and better as the season goes along. I think that they're starting to realize that Trevor Lawrence may need a little more help than people are leading on, and the best thing you can do is lean on your running game with a young quarterback, especially when he may be having particular struggles. The only two things I don't like about Trey Fitty's lineup right now are Garrett Wilson and Kyle Pitts, and to say that is actually a compliment to what Trey Fitty's actually fielding right now. But on ATG side, I'm seeing a definite ability to score at a very, very high rate. I'm looking at Bijan. I'm looking at David Montgomery. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. I'm looking at Raheem Mostert. I'm looking at Mark Andrews. I'm looking at guys all with 30-plus point potential at any given time on any given week. Obviously, DJ Moore's, I'm going to have to see a little bit more of that, but even he showed capability. Christian Kirk isn't going to be bad in that offense, although it's hard for me to see ATG benching a guy like Devonta Smith just because Sauce Gardner's going to have to guard up A.J. Brown more than likely, and I think Devonta can still eat. But at the end of the day, tough decisions have to be made when you got a lot of talent. ATG actually has that. The record does not reflect what this team is capable of right now, and I think that they show that capability in the end. I got Trey Fitty giving it a good fight, but I think ATG gets it in the end. I got ATG getting this one 131 to Trey 50's 121. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a matchup of PPL lore, the genesis of the Pantheon Prestige League. A huge matchup for both of these teams, a rivalry renewed in the PPL. Lakers, Celtics, like matchup. We got the Argonauts taking on Patty's Twins. All right, we got the two most winningest championship teams in PPL history. 4-time champions, the Argonauts, taking on 3-time champions Patty's Twins. A rematch of Pantheon Cups 1 and Pantheon Cup 7, which were split. Star-studded lineups on both sides. Big one for both teams. Neither team can afford to fall behind. We got the Twins and the Argonauts mixing it up again, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when I was first looking at this matchup, I was kind of torn both ways. And, you know, the more I look at it, I mean, the more the holes in what the Twins are dealing with right now are apparent. You know, she's got a lot of guys that have, like, I mean, again, similarly high scoring thresholds. Yeah. But they're banged up. Okay. And again, I just don't know how that's going to factor this week. I mean, I think the coach is solid. All the coach, kicker, D, awesome. Some of these other positions, again, how healthy is Eckler? How healthy is St. Brown? And again, is Jonathan Taylor going to get into a rhythm? Okay. When I look at the other side, I mean, I think that the Argos should change up some things in this lineup. I mean, honestly, I don't like Justin Herbert this week. Okay. This is I mean, again, I saw what Brock Purdy did to this defense last week, but this will be the first game that Justin Herbert's back, and I mean, he's dealing with an injury to the hand, yeah. And I can't not think that Dallas isn't going to be coming for blood. And I think that Justin may be the victim of some displacement aggression as that defense is flying. And if I was the Argos right now, yeah, I'd probably be putting in that Cowboys defense against this instead of the Patriots. Do not trust them against Las Vegas. Yeah. This is probably one of the worst Bill Belichick defensive performances I've seen in quite a while. Okay. And I'd go with Brock Purdy. I mean, what I saw with what Brock's doing and how crisp his throws are looking, yeah. I mean, Brock to me, I think is only but up. And again, finally found George Kittle last week. I think that the Ravens coach is probably a good call. And again, I just think that he's got scoring potential. But, the injury to Justin Jefferson, yeah. These things are absolutely, and Devon. I mean, these are going to be. They matter. Painful, yeah. But I think again, he's got the bench depth to deal with it this week. I worry about weeks beyond. I've got the Argos, and I'm going to actually say that they get this. They make some roster moves here, and I've got them in a leave no doubt performance. Mm-hmm. I've got the Argos going 144 to Patty's Twins 127.
All right, man. I'm gonna going the other way on this matchup. And it's for a couple of reasons. Matthew Stafford gets the Arizona Cardinals at home. I think this is one of the first cake matchups he's going to get all season long. Anything Cooper Kupp is going to get, Matthew Stafford's going to get a piece of. She's also got Tyler Higbee in that lineup. These guys are going to get peppered with targets early and often because the Cardinals have shown that they're pretty competent on offense. They're going to be able to kind of put up a few points to at least make the Rams have to throw the ball a lot. So I like Stafford in the matchup at home against that Cardinal defense. And let's talk about it. Yeah, Justin Herbert is back. If Herbert struggles, so do Eckler and Keenan Allen. And if that ends up being the case, that the Twins really don't have a chance, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that Herbert, Allen, and Eckler are going to have good performances against Dallas. That ass whooping that they took 42-10. That's psychological. That wasn't just a bad week. That exposed some scars. I also believe that they wishing that they had Kellen Moore back. The play calling there is horrible right now, and I don't think you fix that in a week's time, even with an extra day of preparation. The Chargers are going to have 2 weeks to prepare for them coming off of the bye. I don't think that that's going to be an issue at all. In fact, Dallas is one of those teams I'm starting to kind of look at sideways. You can't lose one defensive back and then just fall off the wagon like that. And I think a lot of it has to do with guys smelling themselves a little bit too much in that locker room. But we're going off on a side tangent there. But, hey, the Cowboys defense is on the Argonauts, so I guess it was a valid point. I'm also looking at that San Francisco coach. Loving the Niners and what they're doing. Now, Cleveland is the classic trap game. They're also coming off of a bye. Expect Deshaun Watson to get back in. That Niners defense does struggle against scrambling quarterbacks typically, and it is on the road. But at the end of the day, I think that the Twins will get that coach win. Now, on the Argonauts side, the person I'm worried about, the things I'm worried about most on the Argonaut side is the running back position. Alexander Madison, he's clearly shown that he's better for that offense than Cam Akers is right now. But Cam Akers was traded for a reason. Tony Pollard, I'm starting to think that maybe Zeke was kind of like allowing him to be tight because Zeke would take up so much attention. Zeke was battering defenses, and then Tony's coming there sprinting by guys. Now the teams are preparing for Tony. It's not quite as sexy as the Argonauts had hoped. Devontae Adams, I think that he's kind of dealing with a little bit of something, and that Patriots defense, I think that it's a good week for them to bounce back for a couple of reasons. You talked about Daddy getting to pull the belt out on little boy here. That's exactly what's going to happen, I think, with the Patriots defense against the Raiders. I mean, even with Jimmy G in the lineup, Bill Belichick knows all about everything the Raiders are going to try to throw at him. I think this is a classic get-right game for Bill, especially with the media asking for his job. Ravens coach, they just lost to Pittsburgh, who aren't really playing any offense this year. So they could lose to Tennessee. At the end of the day, it's going to be a close one, as it always is between these two teams. And I like Patty's Twins to find a way to get by, as they always do when they play the Argonauts. I got the Twins getting this one, 132 to the Argonauts, 129. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into a big one here. Prestige matchup of the week, worthy, but we're going to have to settle for, second place this week. We got Only for the Boss taking on the Skulls. All right, man, this one's star-studded as heck, man. We got Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen. We got Deebo Samuel against Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Darren Waller, Chris Olave, Rashard Stevenson. Man, what do you think of this one, man? Big-time encounter here. What I thought was going to be, or actually this is a rematch of Final Four weekend, could be a Pantheon Cup preview, only for the Boss and the Skulls.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get one, I think, this week. And I think that really what you look at here for me, the difference maker is the running back position. It just really hasn't happened for the Skulls yet this season.
Right.
Ramondre Stevenson and that whole offense is taking a step back. This is an instance where Mac Jones' poor play is hurting those around him on the offense. It's hurting the Patriots defense. Yeah. I mean, until they move away from that cat,
we texted about that over the weekend.
That's safe right now.
Yeah, no, you said that over the weekend. You said, hey, this offense is affecting everything on the team. So yeah, for sure.
And again, great to see Jamar Chase finally and that whole team wake up. I think that continues. I think that, that they have another good week. I'm not going to say that they win that game necessarily, but I think Jamar's involved. Yeah. Chris Olave. Thing about Houston, these guys got a pretty decent secondary, and so I think that he might have some trouble. And Darren Waller's a little bit banged up. I think that the Saints against Houston, that game's probably going to be more competitive. And I mean, again, I'm really liking the C.J. Stroud-led Houston Texans. I'm liking how that team's looking. And I mean, the Bills have no reason not to win against the Giants, but I mean, hey, it's been a lot of up and down games for teams.
Yeah.
When I look at the other side, Patrick Mahomes and company should have a shit fest. I mean, we've seen everybody getting dumb against Denver. There's no reason not to. The concern with this team is Travis Kelce. You know, there's a potential injury designation. He's number 2 at the position, but again, it hadn't looked as good as it has.
And it's a shallow position right now, man.
Yeah, and so I think to me that's the question mark. But I mean, again, really the worst start on his offense, and I mean, again, I'll give him the Arizona running back. I mean, he's DeMarcado. He's trying to get it's a value spot. It's a waiver spot. Yeah. But whenever you look at the rest of his lineup, I mean, the worst play here is probably Deebo Samuel, and when that's your worst play, I mean, you're probably in for a big day.
Yeah.
Chiefs coach, Eagles against the Jets. I mean, I really think that the Skulls had a big week last week. I think they're going to have a similarly big week, like that kind of like 150 plus performance. Yeah. Because I've got only for the Boss going. I'm going to say that they go 139 to the Skulls 120.
All right, man. I'm going the other way on this one, man. I think the Skulls got a lot of potential here in this matchup. Let's start with Josh Allen going against that New York Giants team. Why? Why is NBC doing this to America? Why the hell do we got to see this game on Sunday Night Football? This is when you flex back. I thought that they said after week 5 they could flex any matchup. Why the hell are we being subjected to the New York Giants on another night game? I mean, we've seen enough. They've gotten their ass kicked time after time, and I just am not here for it. I like Josh Allen, and I like the Bills coach. That's a 20-point coach win, I think, potentially. And I think that Josh Allen could easily go for 30. That's 50 points right there. I'm looking at Jamar Chase against that Seattle secondary. He should be able to eat. They're at home. Joe looked comfortable again. And Seattle, for as good as they can be, they can definitely play down and get beat by Cincinnati. I'm looking at Chris Olave. He's a guy that's got to continue to be effective for the Skulls to really go places. And I like that they're getting Darren Waller in that offense because he's probably going to get a lot of garbage time passes. Zay Flowers has become the apple of Lamar Jackson's eyes. Now, on the other side, I don't think you can expect another 35 from Zach Moss, man. The Colts have already indicated they're trying to ramp up Jonathan Taylor. A big reason why Zach Moss had such a big week is because I think that they were waiting on Jonathan Taylor to come out there or something. Maybe they weren't taking Zach Moss as serious, but he's trying to get his bread too. Patrick Mahomes against Denver. I mean, what else is there not to say? But that's a game that I can see where they're able to actually run the ball a lot, get that game over with quick on a short week, and get out of town because Travis Kelce isn't 100%. I like the DeMarcado play, but I mean, that's a coin flip. Stephon Diggs, he's going to reap a lot of the benefit of Josh Allen, but the thing with Josh Allen is he can run for touchdowns. He can throw bombs to Gabe Davis. It can come from anywhere with Josh. So Stephon Diggs doesn't necessarily going to have a strong game just because Josh Allen does. Deebo Samuel, like you said, is probably one of his weaker starts. The Eagles D, they haven't looked as impressive as they have looked all year. I think the coaches cancel each other out, and I think that the Skulls find a way, man. I got the Skulls getting by, finding a way. 134 to only for the Bosses 133. I think it's super close, and the Skulls sneak by but get to 500. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. We got a big one. 2 teams that cannot afford to lose this matchup. That's why it's so prestigious. We got the Pantheon Cup champions, squad underestimated, who bounced back with a leave no doubt performance, taking on the GAFF attack. First place in the Omega Conference. All right, man. Big one, star-studded matchup. We got Jalen Hurts in this one, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb, studs everywhere. Big one in the 2023 season. I think this one can really have a big effect on the season moving forward. butterfly effect, so to speak. What do you think, man? Squad underestimated in the GAFF.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this one just comes down to one team I think has more certainty in being able to get it, and that squad underestimated. And I'm gonna highlight some things that I like about squad real quick.
Okay.
I love Kirk Cousins against Chicago.
Okay.
I think that he should have a field day, and they should have a good line. Alvin Kamara came back in the lineup last week and looked good.
Oh, look great.
Look, I mean, so that's a huge boost for squad right now, who's already got the number one running back in the game. And, you know, in a McCaffrey slow week, he left no doubt.
Right.
So that's saying some. Tyreek Hill said it last week. He's indefensible. Puka Nacua, I mean, you know, our guy is Cooper Kupp is back. But, again, against this Arizona team, I think that he can
I think there's room for him to eat, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, hey, probably squad's probably best draft pick, Sam Laporta, man. This guy has chemistry out in Detroit, and again, he's getting fed. Anybody watching those games?
Yeah,
Goff is going there consistently, especially with St. Brown a little banged up. I mean, I expect him to trust that guy. Everybody here can go. I like Dolphins coach against Carolina.
Yeah.
49ers D. I mean, you mentioned Cleveland has a scrambling quarterback, but I think that they get it done. This team's incredibly talented.
Right.
And I look at the other side. You know, Jalen Hurts going against the Jets. AJ's going to catch Sauce Gardner coverage. So how does that impact this play right here? Yeah, how does that look? A little bit less certainty, right?
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, I think he should have a really good day. Spears, how does that look? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you could trust that 2 weeks in a row.
I don't know.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb and company, you know, hey, talk what you will, but, you know, Dak Prescott got schooled, man. Yeah. The only thing he was taking on Monday, or the only thing he was taking for that night was notes from Brock, man. It was a telling matchup.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
You know, DK is holding an injury designation. He's been banged up. You know, the Jags are you know, which version of that team is going to show up? Yeah. And, you know, the Lions, Tampa Bay, on paper, like, I'm going Lions all day. I've been doubting Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay has continued to perform. Right. Especially if a guy like Mike Evans comes back in Tampa Bay, that might be problematic. I've actually got squad, and in this prestige matchup, in my lock of the week. Okay. I think squad does it twice in a row, and I think that he wins this one comfortably. Okay. I'm gonna give squad 133 to the GAF's 108.
All right, man. I gotta agree with you. I don't know if the GAF's gonna only score 108, though. I think he can put up a pretty good fight in the prestige matchup of the week. I'm looking at Kenneth Walker. I really like his matchup against Cincinnati, and I think that CeeDee Lamb on Monday night. I think the Chargers' defense is not very good. I think that game can actually be pretty high scoring for both teams. I think Dallas's defense is gonna take another week off, and I think this could be one of those classic Monday nights where we get like a 31-28 kind of game. One is the fans want to see. I'm looking at TJ Hawkinson, man. You like Kirk Cousins. I love TJ Hawkinson. With no Justin Jefferson, I think he's going to be the guy who benefits more. Everybody's ready to jump on Jordan Addison, a son of Troy. Got much love for him. I think he's a great star for Patty's Twins. But TJ's the guy that I'm expecting to see the biggest uptick in targets with the Justin Jefferson injury. I like DK Metcalf. That Cincinnati defense is good on the pass rush, but I think that Geno's going to have enough time to connect with DK on a couple of big routes. I do got a problem with that Lions coach, though. And I don't know about, I think Gardner Minshew, say what people will about him. I know he looked like Uncle Rico and everything, but he's a pretty good quarterback, man. He can ball. I think that he can definitely really push that Jaguars defense. Now, Kirk Cousins, I actually don't like his matchup on the road as much. He just doesn't play quite as well on the road. He's just not as good as a good road quarterback. Chicago started believing in themselves a little bit last Thursday night. They were able to make things a little difficult for Sam Howell. Kirk Cousins and Sam Howell, athleticism-wise, aren't really all that different. So if they can get some pressure on Kirk, they could actually have success against him. And you know how sacks are in the PPL. They can hurt after a while. The Houston run defense is really bad, so I expect Alvin Kamara to do well. And Christian McCaffrey's become unstoppable. Tyreek Hill's unstoppable. Puka Nakua's going to get his. And just the middle of that lineup is going to eat the GAFF attack up. Sam Laporta, Brandon Ayuk, who low-key is really the best receiver on the 49ers, quiet as kept. In the end, even if Deshaun Jackson does give that Niners defense some problems, that Dolphins coach is not losing to the Carolina Panthers. I got squad underestimated getting this one. In a runaway, I think that the GAFF is competitive, but in the end they fall. I got squad getting this one 148 to GAFF attacks 124. Alrighty, PPLers, thank you for another great week of PPL Live. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Week 6 is in the books. We'll see you guys in week 7. You guys have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. And may the odds be ever in your favor. Later.